All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session for Sentral Finance. My name is Michelle, and I'll be your host for today to step through our first look at our student fees. Now, just some housekeeping points. Our running time today will be for about 45 minutes. So we're starting at 10:30 today, and we'll be looking at finishing at about 11:15. Now, you will be able to see that you have access to the Zoom chat and Zoom Q&A. The Zoom chat will be where we will be posting some links and resources for you to just guide you and further support you. And our Zoom Q&A will be where you'll be able to post your questions and just ask any clarifying questions if you'd like. So again, chat is where we will be posting our links to you, and then Zoom is where you can ask your questions. Now, our answers will be provided to you within 48 hours, so just keep an eye out for that. You should now be able to see a few help areas that have been set up for you. So you do have access to the Help Center via Sentral Help, where you will have the ability to have a look at some quick reference guides that have been made for you, as well as a finance user guide. In the Help Center, there will also be FAQs and some YouTube videos in that one simple area. Now, within the Help Center, you also have the ability to lodge a case. So similarly to how you lodge other cases, you can do that via the Help Center for Finance. And with the responses to the Zoom Q&As that you will be posting in today's session, you will be able to access that via email as well. We do have a dedicated support line just for finance. So if you do need further help, you can reach out to us via the dedicated support line. All right, so let's get started. So our education sessions for our Sentral Finance have been broken up into 6 different topics. So we have our student fees, followed by transactions and payments, cancellations, credits and refunds, banking processes, reporting, and parent portal. Now, today we'll be looking at student fees, and in particular, looking at fees and receipts, standalone fees, student billing run, activities credit fee, and then just a summary of all those different types. So don't stress, we'll go through each of them in a little bit. Here are just some prerequisites just to give you an idea as to where the data comes from. So the data for the finance module has been provided by the department, so by the department's SAP system. So data like your fees, your cost centers, and your transactions will be migrated from EBS Cash Desk into your central site following the onboarding process. So again, all of the data will migrate from EBS Cash Desk into your central site during onboarding. So let's get started and having a look at our student fees. So these are the areas that we're going to be looking at. But ideally, what our objectives are today is that we want you to familiarize yourself with the module, know how the module works, know how to search for students. We want you to be able to understand the differences between a fee and receipts, a standalone invoice, a student billing run, an activity credit fee, and essentially know when to use each of these for your transaction processes. So before we get started at looking at our fees and receipts, I want us to have a look at the module first. So I've gone into our demo site where we can have a look at our finance module in particular. So to navigate yourself to the finance module, you can come and click on the waffle icon. And under the finance category, we have our finance module. Now, the layout of the finance module is similar to your other modules, where we have our left-hand side menu items. In the center, we have a breakdown of tiles for further information. And on the right-hand side, we have a list of our recent contacts and our recent students that we've looked at. In the top right-hand corner, we have our search bar, where we are able to search for a name of a particular student, as well as search for contacts and find those fees. So if Joe has rocked up or Joel has rocked up, we can look for Joel, or we can look for a contact, or if you know the fee number, we can also search for a fee. So again, using the search bar, we can look for students, we can look for contacts, and we can look for your fees. On the left-hand side, we have a couple of options for you to be able to sync some student data and some master data. So similar to how we have our automatic sync with Earn and EBS, we do have an automatic sync with SAP as well. But if there is a scenario where you would like to manually sync, you can do that by clicking these buttons here. We also then have on the left-hand side some menu items to look at registers and fee creations, which is where we're going to be looking at today. In the center, we have a breakdown of our student tiles, contacts, as well as refunds, and any upcoming events that have been created in the activities module will also be available here, where we can see the date, the actual activity, how many students have been given permission, and how many students have paid so far. Let's just step through the registers for now, just to give you an idea as to how this is a powerful area with the finance module. Now, the registers is just an area where you can run those filters and look for those students. So similar to how the profiles module works, where you can filter and run those reports to generate those students, you can do that with the registers here. So if we go into the student register, this is where you can look for certain students who are from particular years, who have particular flags, or you just want to identify those students who don't have, billing responsibilities equal to 100%. So if I come into here and just run and look for students from academic period 2023, we have all of our 295 students here. Similarly, with the contacts register, this allows you to look for those contacts. So you can look for contacts who are of certain type or who have certain flags. Or if I just hit search, it will bring in all of my contacts within the school. Fees register, if you want to look for certain fees, you can use these filters here. Or if I just hit filter, it will bring up all of our fees that have been generated, and I could see them all with the students linked, the amount, as well as their status. Same thing with payments. We can look for some payments, credits, and refunds. So again, registers is just an area where you can run those filters to look for students, look for contacts, look for fees, and etc. So that is our register section here. Now let's have a look at our fee creation types. So I mentioned earlier that we'll be having a look at our fees and receipts, our standalone fees, our student billing run, and our activities created fee. Now let's just focus on the fee and receipt for now. A fee and receipt will be used in those cases. For example, a student has come to the front office and would like to purchase something. They would like to purchase a hat or a calculator or a stationery pack or just a jersey. A fee and receipt will be used in this scenario because it creates a fee and processes the payment in one simple step. Okay, they've come to the front office, they would like to buy a stationery pack. You can create the fee and process the payment in one go. So let's have a look at creating the fee and receipt. So I'm going to go back into my finance module. In finance, under fee creation, we can have a look at creating that fee and receipt for a student. So let's go in there and have a look. We have our fee run name where I can call it stationery pack. We have the date and time, and here's where we can define that that payment method. So let's just say Noah has come in and would like to purchase a stationery pack and has cash. We can go into here, choose the payment method as cash. We can see the estimated bank deposit date has been set for the 18th of July. We can choose whatever till Noah has come in with to pay at, and then we can then choose our fee item. So if I come into here and click item, I have the option to either scroll and look for it, or with the search bar, I can just type in stationery pack, and it will then populate with the correct fee category and the correct cost center that's coming from SAP. Now you can see here that we have an amount here. So let's just say this $20, it's not correct or it needs to be updated and it's actually $15. I do have the option to come into here and actually just change that to $15. You do have the ability to also add multiple lines to this. Let's just say Noah would like to purchase a stationery pack and a jersey and a hat. You can add multiple line items to this fee and receipt and it will all tally up as well. We can now go down. We don't need to link it to an activity. We can leave the academic period, but then here is where we can then choose who to bill. On the left-hand side, we have the ability to run some filters. So I can bring in years or role classes or classes. But because only one student has come to purchase that stationery pack, I can just simply go into this search bar and then just look for Noah. Noah has come in and would like to purchase this. You can see that $15 has been pulled in, as well as the financially responsible adult. That looks good. We can now generate that fee and receipt. This page is then now our preview page where we can just have a look and make sure everything's correct. So we have our contact details, the total amount. But if I now come into here and click our details, we can now see students as well as a description and whoever is the financially responsible adult now attached. All right, that looks great to go. We can now click run. And you will now see that this stationery pack with this fee number for this student has now been allocated to a status of paid. So you can see I've generated that fee and changed it and received the payment in one go, where the status is now paid. I have the option to come into here and again, click details to just have a look at it more granularly. So we can see the stationery pack, who it was created by, we can see the students, however much it was, and we can see how it was paid, cash, via the till in front office, and who was received by. You can also see a breakdown as to whether it has been synced with SAP or not, and that is just all within the details section here. So that is the fee and receipt. We have gone into fee creation, fee and receipt. Student has rocked up, would like to buy something. We've put in the details. We've accepted $15, we've generated, and that's now been set as paid. So that is a fee and receipt. Creates a fee and processes the payment in one step. Now let's have a look at our standalone fees. Our standalone fees is something that we can do if we would like to bill our students' voluntary contribution without any discounts. Or we would like to create that once-off fee and just adjust amount per student. So you can create a fee for a student and or a contact, and again, you can adjust it per student. So this is a standalone fee, and this is what we will be looking at now. So if we go back into our finance module, under fee creation, we're not looking at fee and receipt anymore. We want to look at building a standalone fee for our voluntary contribution. So let's just say voluntary contribution. And let's just say I want to give this, I want to request payments for my Year 2 students. We can name this whatever we'd like. We have the date, due date, and I can come into here and again, click the fee item where I can search or just type in what I'd like. So voluntary contribution for my Year 2 students. You can see that that's all been automatically populated, as well as the amount here. If I scroll down, I can now choose to look for and bill for my Year 2 students. So I'm going to make sure I have school year selected, and I can choose then to just look for my Year 2 students and search for those students. I can now add all of these students to the right-hand side, where we can now see them now being pulled in. Now you do have the option, as you can see here, what generates, to select all, select multiple, or just select one. Now I've just selected my Year 2 for my Year 2 students, and I can see them all pulled to the right. So I have Aiden, Angelina, and Alex. Now this blue button here allows me to edit per student. So let's just say Angelina, should only be paying $50 for a reason, and Angus should be paying $45. I can go into here and manually just adjust it for each student. Okay. Now let's just say this is good to go. I can now scroll down and then generate my standalone fee for my voluntary contribution. Again, it will pull you into a preview screen where I can come into here and click more details. So for this contact, we have Angus at $45 with this description. Because this is a lot of information, I do have the ability to run an export, which will export into a CSV file, and you can use that if you'd like to keep that on record or anything, but you can run that export as well. Now, let's just say this is good to go. I'm happy with this voluntary contribution. I can now run this. You will now see that fees have been generated for my voluntary contribution Year 2 students. I can see the contact name, as well as students, as well as a status as authorized. Now, in this scenario, the school has now created this voluntary contribution request. It now needs to go to the parents within the parent portal to be able to pay this and view this. So for us to now go to the next step, to have this now available for parents, we've now generated, now we want to push to the portal. What we need to do is select all of our fees, go into actions, and then publish it to the portal. When we publish it to the portal, it will take us to a page where we can now view this preview. Again, we can see the fee number, the contacts, as well as the students, the status, the amount, as well as the individuals who have portal access. So we can see here for Xavier, Xavier does not have any portal access users linked. However, with Jessie, we have Jane linked to Xavier. So we can now start to see a breakdown as to students who have parents and carers in the portal and students who don't. You can come into here and view the preview request if you'd like to see it in a little bit more detail. Now this is good to go. I want to publish this to the portal now, so parents will be able to view and pay. I can now publish this voluntary contribution to the portal. You can now see that there are flags now populating on the right-hand side. So we can see that these are all payable in the portal now. So they're now being pushed to the portal for parents to be able to view and pay. And an email has been sent. So financially responsible parents or adults will be able to receive an email with a link directing them to pay as well. You can also see if students do not have any portal user links to them, that they will have a red flag. But with Jessie, because Jane has been linked, there is no red flag there. So again, school will create a standalone fee. Once that's good to go, you would select them all and then publish it to the portal so then parents can see. Same thing, I can come into here, click into details, and then have a look at that as well. So that is our standalone fee. We want to bill without any discounts, and we also have the ability to adjust the amount for a specific student. Now, the difference between a standalone fee and a student billing run is that the student billing run does take into account discounts. So the student billing run is also reliant on the fee structure, and it also takes discounts into consideration. So some schools may have sibling discounts for their voluntary contribution. To be able to have those discounts be, enacted, you need to make sure that it's actually built in and billed as a student billing run. So let's now have a look at our student billing run. We want to bill our voluntary contribution in our billing run. So let's have a look. We've looked at fee and receipts, right? A student has come to the front office and would like to purchase something. We want to do that in one go. That's a fee and receipt. Standalone fee, again, is where we can bill a student for something that does not take into account any discounts. But now we want to have a look at our student billing run where we might have some discounts in there and it's being built into our fee structure. So we can have a look at our student billing run. So we can select our billing run period. Let's go with 2023. And then here is where we can now select who can be billed. So again, we have our years, we have our role classes, activity groups, student flags, or previous billing runs. Let's go with year one. Let's bill for our year one students. I've selected now year one. I'm going to search for those students and then make sure they're all selected and add them all to the right-hand side. You can now see that we're on our second step, which is the fee selection. So here is where we can actually start to choose what we want our students to be billed against. So let's just say we want to bill our voluntary contribution because we have our sibling discounts or it's been billed in our fee structure. We also then want to request for payment for our whole school activities like our athletic carnival and our swimming carnival. Now, if you're a school who has a timetabling package and will also like to bill students for their subject fees, you can go ahead and select this as well. But for today's example, we want to just do our voluntary contribution in our whole school activities for just our year 1 students. So you can see as I selected them, they've now populated underneath. So we have our athletics carnival, our swimming carnival, and our voluntary contribution with the amount on the right-hand side. I can now go next. And it'll give me a preview. So I can see up the top here a preview of our fee. So we can see a summary total as well as any discounts that may have been put against the student. If I scroll down, we have an overview of 41 bills that will be generated. We can see the contacts, we can see the students. We can also see a breakdown of the fee types. So we can see that this is a voluntary contribution at $52. For Hugo then also has a athletics carnival and swimming carnival at $25 each. And if there are any discounts, they'll also pull in on the right-hand side. This will also show you any split payments. So if you ever have those situations where parents are split and a parent is paying, 70-30, they'll also display here and the fee will reflect that as well. If I scroll down, make sure that's all correct, and then we can go ahead and then process that billing. We can now see that the billing run has been processed, 82 fees have been created, and we can now view those fees. So we can see here, if there are students with split payments, they'll also be visible here. And we can also see a breakdown as to how much each contact will be paying, as well as their status. So the exact same thing as the standalone fees. We have now generated our billing run within the school. We now want to give this to the parents. So we now want to publish this to the portal. So what we need to do is just make sure, because this is 82 found, we might want to go ahead and just display all 100. So we want to increase that pagination. We have our fees now. Select all our 82 fees for our billing run, actions, and then publish this to the portal. Again, same overview. We can see the amounts. We can see who has access users linked to them in the portal. And if that's good to go, we can then publish this to the portal and parents will receive that. So they can go and pay. Same thing, flags will also appear, alerting you if there are parents in the portal linked, and it will let you know that it is now payable in the portal and an email has been sent. Similar to other areas, we have the ability to go into details and then view that on a granular level. So we can see for Imogen, whole school carnival, whole school activities, which is $25. And the next one, we then have our voluntary contribution there as well at $26, as it is 50% each. Okay. And then parent contacts too, we'll have that other breakdown. Okay. So now we've created that student billing run. We have now pushed it to the portal. Parents can now see and then pay that via the portal. So just as a recap, you want to bill multiple fees and you want to take into the discounts into account, make it as a student billing run. As it is based on your fee structures, you can apply flags and you prevent the multiple billing of fees. So now that I've sent a billing created a billing run for my year 1 students, I won't be able to do that again. Okay, it will lock me and prevent me from doing that, just to alert me that that's already been done. So these are our 3 different types so far. Now we can have a look at our activities created fee. So an activities created fee will be, will kind of, I guess, come into existence once you have created a fee, once you have created an activity in the activities module and you're ready to publish this to the portal to request for permission and payment. So if I go back to finance, again, this is our home screen of the finance module, where on the bottom we have our upcoming events, and this is coming from our activities module. So let's have a look at our 2023 Questacon activity that has been created for our 4 students. If I go into 2023 Questacon, we can see that this activity has finalized the workflow. It's been approved by the execs and so on, and this is now ready to go to the portal. If you already use the activities module and the parent portal, you'll be familiar with this green button here, where you have the option to publish this to the portal to request for permission. You now have the ability to request for payment as well. So we can see the excursion period, it's the 18th of August. We now want to request for parents to grant permission and payments. And we can now call this whatever we like. So if you want, you have the option to enter multiple line items. You can now see that's populated the $15 there. If you don't want that and you just want to have everything as one, feel free to do that as well. Same thing. Do we want parents to be notified via the Sentral for Parents app? Yes, we want parents to receive the notification. This permission form due date has been coming from the activities event details, so that's locked in. Here we get to decide the payment due date. So when our payments kind of finalized and locked in, as the permission form is due on the 17th, let's make this the 17th as well. We can see the venue is Canberra, and we can see event details as well. So this is coming in from the activities details here. On the bottom, we also have a list of our students who have linked to this activity. And then if this is ready to go and permission and payment is all good, we can now publish this to the portal. And then parents will receive the notification that an activity is waiting for them to be approved. You can now see an invoice has automatically been generated. So we can see that these are individual invoices, but for Chelsea, she may be in a scenario where we have now split payments. So we then have separate fees for each of these split payments. You have the option to go into here and actually click into the fee and just view it in more detail. So we can see that this is the fee number, the reference, contact, and student, the total, and then if I come in and click details, we can see that as well. So the reason why it's $30 is because both Jessie and Noah, both siblings, have been attached to this contact, this family, which is now why it's totaled to $30. And we can see the breakdown that Jessie has 2 for entry and food at $15, and so does Noah, entry and food at $15, which is why it's totaling to $30 here. We can see that it is now payable in the portal. An email has been sent, and once this has been paid, the status will change automatically to paid from authorized. So again, an activity has been created in the activities module. It's ready to publish and request for permission and payments from the parents. So what you would do is just go into the activity, publish it to the portal, enter the amounts, and hit publish, and that automatically creates a fee that is linked to the activity. So just as a summary, we have a fee and receipt. Student has come to the front office and would like to purchase something. You can create a fee and process that payment in one simple step, fee and receipt. Standalone fee, you want to bill students without any discounts, and you want the ability to adjust the amounts. That's a standalone fee. Student billing, you want to bill multiple items and you want to take discounts into account. That's a student billing run. And an activities created fee. An activity has been created and you want to push this to the portal. You can do that via the activity. Now, these are different types of ways you can create a fee. Some schools will stick to one. Some schools might have a mix of both fee and receipt and standalone. and even activities credit fee. So it just depends on the scenario at the school. You can use what works for your school. So again, you don't need to feel like you need to use all of them, just use what is the most appropriate for your school. So that's pretty much it for our education session 1 on student fees. We've looked at fee and receipt. We've looked at our standalone fees. We've looked at student billing runs and how to create the fee via an activity. We've also looked at a summary of the different types of with the fee creation area. Now for our session on Thursday, we'll be going through transactions and payments and explicitly looking at how to receive a payment for an existing fee. So a fee has been created, a student has come in to pay, or a parent has come in to pay via FPOS. How do we deal with that? On Thursday, we will also be looking at how to adjust a fee for an adjust an amount for an existing fee. We'll be looking at the payments register in more depth, as well as any student assistance and subsidies. And then finally, how to reallocate those student charges. So we have about 15 minutes left of today's session. If you have any questions, please submit them via the Q&A section, and you will receive a response to your questions within 48 hours. Now, if you want further help, you have the Help Centre, you have the ability to lodge a case as well. You will receive the responses to the Zoom Q&A questions, and you will have the Sentral Finance landing pages. Now, if you want something a little bit more personalised, we do have the dedicated support line, which is on the screen as well.